We are becoming increasingly confident now that the first few hours out of this for a lot of the area will fall in the form of snow. And I suspect some of that could be locally heavy at times, especially south of the Thruway for the afternoon drive home. North of the Thruway, hopefully it's mainly just light, snow-covered road, sure, but nothing that we can't handle. The biggest issues out of this will start to develop going into the evening and the first part of the night. Two things. Not only is the precip starting to get heavier, the warm air aloft, which will turn that blue, which is snow, into pink, which is sleet and freezing rain, is making progress toward Rochester. At some point into the overnight, we will change to sleet and freezing rain before the precip starts to lighten up in time for Thursday morning. That doesn't mean your morning commute is going to be A-OK. I doubt that is going to end up being the case. The reality out of this is like what a real estate agent will tell you. It's all about location. We have 4 different types of precip that I think almost all of you are going to cycle through in some capacity out of this. So if we look at it like our big piece of the pie that we showed you a couple of days ago, take Canandaigua, Rochester, Lyndonville, each getting progressively more north. Note how much of that pie is falling as rain. For example, in Canandaigua, starts getting pinched off more for snow, sleet, and ice, even more so in Lyndonville. So every town, every city are all playing by the same wintry mix, but how much of each of these, with each pit stop we make, is going to be different, largely with a north to south gradient. Because we know that is coming, we've upgraded now how much total ice we expect out of this. For parts of the area, and this could include close to Rochester, you may end up a lot closer to ½ an inch out of this with an increased risk of power outages. That's the bad. I do have some good to talk about moving forward too. We'll break that down coming up. First, the situation in Orchard Park tonight. This appears to be, now we're going to have to confirm all of this, the single highest 24-hour snowfall in the history of the state of New York. 66 inches at Orchard Park, which in perspective, this guy is 6'5". That puts that snow line up to about his chin. It is still snowing at Orchard Park right now, but that's about to change. So here's the deal on the way this works. This is like a sailboat out over the open water. The lake effect bands are steered by the wind flow, and that wind is now starting to shift on us tonight. When that changes, the band has to start to realign to go with that wind flow, and now we watch the heavy snow start progressing northward. That means less for Orchard Park, but we open that window for several other places. Immediate concern, though, is going to be this guy here. Look closely. You can see that orange box now drawn from Canandaigua westward toward Bristol. That is our first and only severe thunderstorm warning of the afternoon, and that's going to be for these 2 cores right in here, both of which could be producing damaging winds and perhaps even some quarter-sized hail out of this. Their 3D slice, that right in there, you see all that red that shoots up to about 25,000 feet. That could be your hail that is getting ready to fall right near the east side of Canandaigua. That's our live shot from Sutter's Marina, right about in there. A lot of rainfall, but again, the worst of this is pivoting west toward Canandaigua over the next few minutes, and it's not moving much, producing almost 2-inch-an-hour rainfall rates.
Meteorologist Eric Snitil joins us now at the very latest as we continue to track Ian. Eric.
Hi, Adam. Yeah, and this says a lot here. A lot of the webcams that are anywhere close to where the center of this circulation made landfall are no longer online. The damage that has already been done, quite extensive. This is now the eye of the hurricane, which, by the way, this is still a Category 3 hurricane right now, just east of the Port Charlotte area on the west coast of Florida. 2 phases of this that we now turn our attention to. Number 1, and this has been a big one to start, has been the storm surge issue. And we divide these into quadrants when we track hurricanes. And the surge with this one is going to be in the bottom right quadrant, where that air is flowing onshore. So it's literally pushing that Gulf of Mexico water and driving it inland from Sanibel toward Bonita Springs. Folks in the Naples area dealing with that significant surge as well. On the north side of this hurricane, it's a completely different animal. It's an offshore wind flow, but because that air is now flowing over a lot more land, the friction slows it down, it piles it up, and it gives you a radar that looks like this. Incredible amounts of rain become the chief concern here within that northern eye wall. Radar estimating now near Port Charlotte toward the Englewood area, more than a foot of rain has already fallen, and there is a long way to go. This is destined to work its way toward Orlando, Florida by tomorrow morning. Won't be a Cat 3 anymore, probably a Cat 1, and a second landfall now a distinct possibility across parts of Georgia and South Carolina before our week is done. What happens here? What do we expect out of this in your full forecast coming up?